Like, hey man, you want to work on the Avengers? I'm like, yeah.
I think the first thing Brian and I ever did together was maybe Quantum Realm boards on Ant-Man 1.
Yeah. I was helping out with some of the
Yeah.
redoing some final battle stuff.
That was like the first time I remember having a conversation with you. It was
Yeah,
like that era.
yeah. And then I was there from unofficially since Iron Man. I did some little, tiny little bit on Iron Man just to help some VFX house get the job to do some VFX for them. And they liked it so much they were like, that's gonna be in the movie. That gag is in the movie. And the next thing you know, Kevin is like, hey man, you want to work on the Avengers? I'm like, yeah. So, and I've been working on their stuff ever since. It's crazy.
Yeah, Brian's been like one of our key secret weapons at the studio since the very, very beginning. Has designed some of the most iconic sequences in some of our biggest movies. Um, yeah, it's been a great partnership.
Yeah, man. And then Brad is like, hey man, want to do some what if stuff? I'm like, what?
We were watching Kung Fu movies at Jonathan Schwartz's house.
Oh yeah, because they're getting ready to do
Yeah.
Shang-Chi, and Jonathan wanted me to help out with Shang-Chi, but then What If picked up. So all I can do for Shang-Chi was just help kind of mentally with some of their action sequences. I couldn't board a bunch of stuff because I was busy on What If.
You got to scratch the Shang-Chi itch a little bit in Marvel Zombies.
That's right. Which is great.
And also in What If? That was that amazing Shang-Chi episode last season.
Yeah, exactly. We had the Western, so I got to like do all the insane kung fu. So yeah, no, it's been fun. We've been at Marvel a long time.
Yeah, that I was like scrolling and scrolling and it didn't stop. But
Yeah.
especially with you, Brian, I've scrolled and I was like, I've seen that, I've seen that, I've seen that. You've made my entire childhood, young teenage animated life. Everything that's like behind me is made with you.
That's
So,
hilarious.
that was crazy. I've written everything down you didn't do, so I will like check that. There's like 3 to 4 things that I didn't watch, so these are on my list.
Oh, right on, right on.
And especially with that, so this is like very, I mean, it's pretty Marvel new thing. It's a bit more horror. It comes out at Halloween. Ooh,
Yeah.
Halloween time. Where did you look for inspiration? Like, did you look for horror inspiration besides like obviously Marvel Zombies, the comics? Um, but was there a lot of horror inspiration you looked into?
It's funny. It's like, yeah, I mean, our show is we're doing our own thing, but obviously we stand on the shoulders of what came before. The comics are so beloved, and the whole idea of just having heroes as zombies was totally there. We're like, ooh, but what's our like Marvel Cinematic Universe spin on it? And then from that, it was just, Brad and I had talked before. We actually kind of borrowed a lot from just like fantasy genre, because it just felt like the world is so bizarre and you've got people with such powers that it felt somewhat different than normal zombie fare. It felt a little bit like horror fantasy or something, you know what I mean? Like Frodo trying to get the ring to Mordor and the Nazgul are coming, you know what I mean? There's something that. And then when it came to just ideas and stuff, we've all grown up watching all kinds of things, horror movies of all types, zombie ones as well as other things like John Carpenter's The Thing, and just everything across the board. So anything that felt spooky and or horrible that is just residing in my brain pan, and I think same with Brad, we can just you know what I mean, you can rip because you've got a lot of raw material just in your head that you have grown up with. So I think ideas came, I don't know, Brad, but they came fast and they came pretty
Fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we cracked this thing pretty quick. I mean, it was like, I mean, Brian and I were, from the What If episode about Marvel Zombies, we immediately started geeking out on what a standalone kind of epic film could be, and then we were thinking about it like a Fantasy Quest epic, first and foremost. And many years later, here it is.
Yeah.
Now that you've said film, was there a reason you decided to do it as like a show with 4 episodes, but like in the long run, it also works as a movie? I've watched it like a movie, so.
Nice.
I mean, there's certain rights issues with some of the characters we're using where we actually have to do it episodically. But we thought so immediately we were like, well, even if it's one story, an event, we have to figure out our chapters. But it does, having it broken up into 4 chapters actually like lends itself, I think, to the fantasy storytelling a bit, because it feels like it kind of forces us to look at it as like different adventures in a greater quest. And there's something that fantasy and zombie films actually do very well, is this idea of like the group, disparate people kind of coming together and then disintegrating and coming back together again, which is something that I think the structure of Marvel Zombies does really well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, film would have been fun, but once we realized, oh, that can't happen, then to Brad's point, we just lean into the strength of having it be broken up into these 4 chapters, almost as if it's like this horror fantasy novel in 4 chapters. You know what I mean? And I think there's something fun about that.
You've talked about like horror from your childhood. I'm sure Marvel Zombies is going to be watched by a lot of children who it's maybe not very age appropriate because they see Marvel, they see animated. Oh my God, that works. Do you remember what like scared you as a kid, what you shouldn't have watched back then?
I remember my dad falling asleep on the couch and leaving on this like really cool war movie, and I ended up watching the whole thing at like 9 years old, and it was Full Metal Jacket.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like something that scared me. There was like oddly enough, I think when I was super young on TV, there was an old show called The Bionic Woman, and there was one episode that was kind of like a ghost weird episode, some haunted lake or something like that. That freaked me out. And then the first Friday the 13th, the ending with the creepy Jason coming up out of the thing, I was just
oh my God, yeah.
I was like, wait, what? So that kind of freaked me out. But the one that I kind of remember is, and I was older, right? I was like a teen. I was like a young teen when the first Nightmare Before Elm Street came out. We were all a bunch of teens gathered at a friend's house, and we all watch it because they're like, ooh, we're scandalous. You're not supposed to. And they just had a couple of images in there that I had always like stuck with me. And then I think there's a particular part in the movie Exorcist 3, oddly enough.
Oh, the shears.
Yeah, with the shears. Well, I call it the
That's like, a horrible moment.
Freaking, I won't bore you with the story, but in the theater packed with people, like we're a bunch of teens, and we're all being goofy and like, this is scaring me. That shut us the hell up. That's totally like we're all a bunch of dudes trying to like not exclaim at all. We just brought it all in. But that got me. So and I always loved John Carpenter's The Thing, but I never got to see it in the theater. So I saw it like when it came to like the movie channels and stuff. And so some of those, so that provides you a little bit of distance. You know what I mean? Because it's daylight and you're in your parents' room and you're watching the thing. It's like it's not on a little TV. It's not quite as scary as when you see it on the big screen. But yeah, there's old movies that freaked you out when you were little.
Yeah, and it's so special. It like shaped me as a person. Everything that freaked me out as a child.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's fun to hear which things got which people at what.
Well, yeah, kids should not watch the show without their parents' permission.
Yeah, it's gonna happen though.
EMA show.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for shaping my childhood and teenage years. Oh my God, especially both of you. And thank you so much. Have a great day and see you on the next press trip.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Bye.